Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're totally cracking the code on Chapter 5 of Marcus Sheridan's book, Endless Customers. We are tackling the ultimate business taboo: cost and price. We're going to see exactly why hiding your prices online is secretly killing your sales, and how embracing radical transparency can completely transform your entire business. To really get the psychology here, I want you to be honest with yourself for a second. Think about your own behavior as a consumer. Imagine you're researching a product, you're super interested, maybe you're literally reaching for your credit card, but the company entirely hides their pricing online. How does that make you feel? What's your immediate gut reaction? It's frustration, right? In fact, the book actually calls frustration the true F word of the internet. Because look, as a buyer, you know the business has the answer. So the absolute second you feel they're deliberately hiding it from you, boom, trust evaporates. You don't sit there and think they're building value behind the scenes, you just assume they're being sketchy. And this loss of trust has a measurable, honestly terrifying cost. Research shows that a frustrated buyer will abandon your website in less than 10 seconds if they're looking for pricing and can't find it. 10 seconds. They aren't going to pick up the phone and call you. No way. They'll just bounce right back to Google and find a competitor who actually gives them the answers they crave. Yet, even though we absolutely hate this experience as consumers ourselves, business leaders constantly act like ostriches. We literally bury our heads in the sand, just hoping the price issue will magically disappear until we can get a prospect on the phone or in a meeting. But here's the hard truth. In the information age, waiting until the pitch is just way too late. When pushed on this, businesses usually hide behind 3 classic objections to justify their silence. You've probably heard them, or maybe you've even used them yourself. Well, we're going to systematically debunk every single one of these excuses right now, starting with the biggest one. Okay, excuse number 1. Our solutions are too complex. It depends. We can't give a flat rate. But come on, the reality is buyers aren't stupid. They already know prices vary based on custom jobs and shifting scopes. They just want a baseline estimate. They want a ballpark range. And more importantly, they want to understand the factors that actually cause that price to go up or down. Excuse number 2. If I put my prices online, my competitors will know what I charge. The author points out how laughable this really is. Think about it for a second. Any experienced competitor or smart salesperson in your space already has a very solid sense of your pricing model. Keeping it off your website doesn't hide it from your rivals. It literally only hides it from your paying customers. And the third objection is the fear of sticker shock. If my prices are higher, I'll scare them away before I can explain my value. But listen, educating buyers on value never scares them. What scares them is a lack of information. Ignorance breeds doubt, doubt breeds inaction, and inaction absolutely kills leads. If you aren't explaining your price contextually, you've lost the sale before it even starts. So here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. If you choose not to educate your market on pricing, you are literally commoditizing your own product. If you don't lead the conversation and define your value, the buyer just assumes you're exactly the same as the cheapest option out there, which forces you to compete purely on price anyway. Let's see how this plays out in the real world with a legendary case study from the book, River Pools. Back in 2009, during a massive global recession, this fiberglass pool company was desperate. To survive, they realized they had to become the best teachers in the world about their product, which meant finally tackling the one topic everyone else avoided like the plague. But they faced a massive dilemma. Every single buyer asked for a price, but not one pool company in the world displayed them online, mostly driven by those exact fears we just debunked. Pools are highly customized, right? So how could River Pools answer the pricing question without boxing themselves into a number they couldn't honor? Embracing radical transparency, Marcus Sheridan sat down at his kitchen table for 45 minutes and wrote a single article titled, "How Much Does a Fiberglass Pool Cost?" He didn't give a rigid quote. Instead, he simply compared buying a pool to buying a car. He explained the base models, the accessories, the installation, and how all those moving parts affect the final price tag. The return on investment from that one piece of content was just staggering. That single 45-minute article brought in over 1 million website visitors and generated thousands of qualified leads. Ultimately, it resulted in over 200 customers, driving over $35 million in revenue and literally saving the company from bankruptcy. All because they answered one basic question. By refusing to play the ostrich, River Pools completely transformed their sales conversations. Instead of prospects guarding their wallets, people would call in and say, "Hey, I just want to thank you for being so open about how much a pool costs. I really had no idea what to expect." Trust was established before a pitch ever started, which completely shifted the whole buyer-seller dynamic. The blueprint, creating the perfect pricing page. So, addressing cost is clearly a massive trust-building tool, but how do you actually replicate this success? Remember, you don't have to give an exact number. The whole goal is education. You absolutely must give the buyer a framework for understanding how your industry's pricing actually works, addressing the primary factors that dictate the final bill. According to the Endless Customer System, the perfect pricing page has to clearly outline 5 core elements. First, what drives industry costs up? Second, what drives them down? Third, why are some competitors so expensive? Fourth, why are some so cheap? And finally, where does your specific price range fall within that landscape? You have to explicitly address the extremes. Explain that cheap often means overseas manufacturing, lower quality parts, or maybe lackluster customer service. On the flip side, explain that expensive usually signifies premium materials, specialized labor, or superior warranties. By laying this out objectively, you empower the buyer to decide for themselves if the premium extras are actually worth it. Finally, you absolutely must clearly state where your own pricing tier falls within that spectrum. Don't shy away from it. If you're on the higher end, proudly explain the deliberate quality decisions and service standards that justify your cost. By giving this context, you help the buyer understand exactly what they're getting and why you stand out from the crowd. As we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this final thought. In today's digital age, transparency is the ultimate competitive advantage. Buyers are going to find the information they want with or without you. If you don't educate your market on pricing, you are actively commoditizing your own product. So, are you finally ready to pull your head out of the sand and answer the one question every single buyer is asking?